1. I'm 18, male, and I want to preface that I've never had any work experience prior to this job. With that, I feel a lot of pressure from the job, and I constantly get anxious as I'm serving, or even when I'm performing the most basic tasks. My first customer complaint came from a lady who was a regular at the restaurant. It was a chaotic Friday night, and there were only 3 servers including me. The other 2 were busy taking orders on the phone and bagging, while I was mainly keying those orders in the cash register. This lady came through, and I decided to seat her as everyone else already got too much on their hands. I took her order, and she wanted to have a glass of wine along with the food. Now, I cannot serve alcohol because I don't have a license for one yet. So I asked my coworker to take care of her from then on. Some time passed by. She paid and got up to talk to my coworker. She whispered something to him for about 2 minutes as he was taking another order from a table, and she left the restaurant cold. Apparently, she told my coworker that I was the laziest server ever, and I did not keep up with her at all. My coworker attempted to calm her down and emphasized that it was only my 2nd week, but she still resisted that a server should already know the basics. This destroyed me and ruined the rest of the night, as if I'm not anxious enough, right? Then the second complaint came from a busy Saturday night, a week after the first incident. A young lady came in to order, but she did not know what to order. She just had a list with her. I copied the exact list down on my ticket, sent it to the kitchen, and told her food should be ready in about 45 minutes as it was super busy. 30 minutes passed. A guy came through to pick up her order. I showed him the order, and he said the order was all wrong. What happened was on the list. She had the food numbers, and each had W/O tofu. I thought that it meant without tofu. Apparently, it was with tofu? So we had to redo the order and told him to wait. Since we were pretty busy, he had to wait about 30 minutes. When the food was done, I brought it out and he seemed fine and paid the order normally. By the next morning, my manager called me and said that this guy from last night left a 1-star review on the restaurant and complained that I did not know how to take orders. He stated in his review that he missed most of a football game because I did not care enough about him and apologized for the incorrect order. Oh, and because of the wait, he said I should have given the food to him for free. The total of his order was almost $100. I guess that's what I should have done, or at least gave him a discount. But at the heat of the moment, my anxious ass cracked under pressure, and did not give him free food or a discount for the wait. With this, and the incident before, I felt so bad about both that I wanted to cry and quit the job. Because of this trend, I feel like I'm going to get another complaint soon, and eventually fired. So I want to ask you guys for advice. This means a lot to me, because I want to get more insight in the serving and food industry. Thank you in advance. 2. Yesterday there was a table coming of 3 who had a reservation for a social deal, which means entrees, main and dessert at €20 a person instead of plus minus 40. We only get €15 out of the deal, and the reason we do it is because we wanted to advertise our restaurant again after the COVID lockdown. Normally, the people booking this deal are assholes and never satisfied. The restaurant I work in is owned by my grandparents and mom, so it's really close to my heart. Also important, our city gave us lottery tickets for free drinks and meals, which we can give out to customers. Then we have to keep the winning tickets, give them back with an invoice, and collect the money. Yes, we could scratch them ourselves and just get all the money without handing out drinks, but we don't roll like that. We can only hand them out until the end of October. I live in Belgium. There was a national security meeting yesterday about new rules, and while we normally never do this, we put the TV on and followed the updates. News came in. The bar and restaurant industry has to close. Again. This Monday for a month. We sanitize everything. Even if you push your chair back to go to the restroom, you're still 1.5 meters away from the person behind you. We do contact tracing. It has been proven that under 1% of contamination comes from restaurants, while I have to sit on a train full of people and they don't bother to open up the first-class seats when we are like sardines in a can, but okay. Apparently it is our fault. So yeah, I teared up. Went to the bathroom to have a decent sobbing session, because I'm dead-ass tired after all the extra work and stress, just to be told to bend over and be fucked for another month. I came back out, and even though I had my mask on, you could still see I was a bit red-eyed. I looked at the remaining lottery tickets and thought, fuck it, ticket galore for everyone, so they can at least be used this last weekend. Greedy fucks everywhere. No thank you for the extra tickets, only sighs and eye-rolling when they won nothing for only €10. Except for Table 2. They scratched €50 altogether. The social deal people. Guy tapped me on the shoulder and gave me the tickets, to which I replied I would take it off the bill. He said no, asked me to just keep them for our profit, and told me to keep strong, and how he loved the service and the place. That the minute we open again, he's coming back with as many people that's legally possible. His wife even ripped up her social deal. More like a gesture, since it was already paid for, which I pointed out, and then demanded to pay the extra amount of money when she would have ordered it just from the menu. They kept on telling me to keep my chin up, and that it isn't fair. Table 2, I can't wait to see you guys back ASAP. You guys are gold. If it was safe, I would have hugged you guys so much. 3. I'm going to try to not get too emotional, but this is relevant to my story, I promise. My dog is my entire world, and I base my entire life around her. I woke up the other day to her lying on my bathroom floor, breathing heavily, and she wasn't moving. This dog rises with me every single day and follows me everywhere, not last Sunday. Long story short, I spent $1,300 on this vet visit, and basically it came down to they couldn't fix her and my best option was to euthanize her. She has such little life in her eyes, and I watched her light go out. She isn't just a dog. She was my whole world. I'm fucking devastated. Some of my coworkers know what happened. My manager sympathized when I messed up here and there on Tuesday. I joke about being a wreck, but I've slept maybe 5 hours in the past 3 days. I lie down to sleep and my dog isn't next to me, and it keeps me up at night. Food's been hard to eat also. I'm not okay, honestly, but the customers don't know that. I go through the motions at work, don't even have to fake a smile because I've got a mask. I keep myself busy to forget why I'm so empty right now, but fuck, I wish I actually would have slept. Anyways, today I had a couple come in from another state. I know this because I carded them. They were wonderful, asking me questions about our locally sourced meats and cheeses. I couldn't answer their questions for shit because I've only been there 2 months, but I'd made sure to find out all answers and accommodate them. They took my recommendations and were just all around lovely. Then once we were done, he signed the credit card receipt, and I saw her take it and write something. Figured she was mathing the tip. But I went to clean the table and it said, "Thank you for making my birthday so special." I caught them in time to wish her a happy birthday after this. My dumbass didn't realize it when I carded her, but fuck, I'm tired. Anyways, that note made me happy. About half an hour later, same table. This table is ridiculously small, by the way. Another couple sits there for our clam bake. I'm letting this get too long, so I'll try to shorten it up. This was their first clam bake together, and they were super stoked. They got white sangria and asked my opinion, and I told them the white is good, but red is better. The table was too small for the amount of food in our clam bake. I tried to move them, but literally everything was reserved. They were super chill about it, and came up with the idea for boxing their food so they could eat the clams. Normally I won't personally box someone's food, it's not in my job description, but if you're not an asshole, I'll consider it. I took their food and boxed it, and left it under the heat lamp. They had a good time and switched to red sangria. They loved it. Anyways, I got a little busy. Had a table make me second-guess myself when they asked me to bring ciabatta with their salad instead of a roll. So I heated up ciabatta and brought it out, and they said that it wasn't ciabatta, and explaining the bread they wanted. I also brought out the wrong dressing, easy fix, but this table just thought I was playing stupid. And it was the family of a musician who also does other work around there. I don't know, he's highly regarded there, so I figure their opinions matter. I was genuinely confused. I walked back to the kitchen like, that bread I just heated is ciabatta, right? They said yes. I asked the girl that usually serves them what they get with their salad. And they'll probably demand her from here on because I got them the wrong bread. And she said she gave them a baguette. Grabbed the baguette, brought it out. I made sure to explain the difference, but this ordeal took so much time. I was late getting a clam bake out for another table. Tried to rush that out, and spilled sauce on the woman. Luckily, she had a napkin in her lap. Meanwhile, another table that is not mine is trying to wave me down in another room. But my 7-Top's food was up, and the kitchen needed it out of the window ASAP. Meanwhile, my other 2-Top was ready to order. I ran the food and got the order, but felt like I was slipping. Some of these people waited longer than they have to. I need sleep. I walked up to the table that was waving me down and asked if anyone has been over. They said no. I told them I'd go on a mission and find their server, and said I'd at least get their drink orders. They were ready to order everything. Okay, got it. I walked up to the host and asked her who she gave that table to. We were rotating this room, and it absolutely was not my turn. I was not trying to steal someone's table. She didn't remember. I went to the back and asked 2 of the other servers if it was their table. They said it wasn't given to them. So I brought out their drinks and was like, fuck it, you're my table now. But, like, I was busy with these tables. I'd probably be better if I wasn't such a nightmare right now. After the whole dilemma with the baguette ciabatta couple, probably thinks I'm terrible at my job, I was grateful for the others. My sangria couple that couldn't even fit their clam bake in their tiny table, but were super amazing the entire time, was ready to cash out. I took their card and gave them a dessert list, insisting they take something home on me. They said I didn't have to. I told them I want to. They were looking at me as they were leaving and happened to stop my manager while I was over with the couple that flagged me down. Once I walked up, they thanked me again and said I was the best server they've ever had to my manager. They tipped $25 on their $60 tab. Then the table without a server that flagged me down was ready to cash out. As he was signing it, he said, "Just so you know, this tip is not only for the service, but because you took initiative and you made everything right. $25 on $50. Now I'm rambling about my shift and possibly being cocky. But back to my mindset. I'm not in a good place mentally right now, and it'll take a while to adjust to life without my dog. But there's something about making another person's day that just makes everything in this industry worthwhile. They had no idea what I'm feeling, but these 3 tables in particular just made me very happy today. Also made me very proud of what I do. And as far as a musician's parents go, they can go on their whole lives thinking a baguette is a ciabatta bread. I don't care. 4. I've been serving for 6 years. I'm 24 now, and I'm sure a lot of people are in the same boat I'm in. When I first started, I was at a small mom-and-pop restaurant, always busy, super good food, and get-in and get-out style of service. Over time, I worked my way up to work at nicer places, became a host at a super high-end restaurant, and within a few months, I worked my way up to become a bartender. From there, I said, hey, this is pretty cool and I'm really good at it. Applied myself completely and moved to New York City, where I wanted to pursue my then passion even more so. I was really, really eager to become a head bartender or bar manager somewhere and work my way up. So after a few months in New York, I ended up getting to work at easily one of the top restaurants in the city. And most likely America for that reason. I would say top 500. That doesn't sound impressive, but there is or was thousands upon thousands of restaurants open. Most likely hundreds of thousands. After spending quite some time there, I was very happy with myself. Made solid money a year, learned some new things, and would go out and meet all the cool bartenders at all the places I would love to bartend at. Fast forward 2 years and COVID hit. I moved to California to pursue the career even more so after I realized I missed the beach, the sun, and the overall good vibes, and worked at another restaurant where it had everything I ever wanted. An amazing bar program with the most amount of drinks and syrups and tinctures to learn from, and all different types of ice. We made classics all the time, and it was seriously a spectacular program. Then one day I woke up both literally and metaphorically and said, "What am I doing?" Serving and bartending is a cool gig. You make okay money for the actual labor you're doing. You use your head at 1/10 of the capacity you could be actually using it at, and all you have to do is write down an order, know a few ingredients in a dish, and smile at a table. Your whole goal is to be fake pretty much. It's hard to imagine a bartender-type world, but if we were to live in such a world, we'd really have to imagine us bartending trade for trade. Let's say you need a stint put in by a doctor. Money was no object, and he or she didn't need it. As a server, bartender, what could you barter to trade them for their labor? Serve them the food they most likely don't need to be served, or make them an at most $18 cocktail for their theoretical $80,000 procedure that was just performed. While it's weird to me that I once wanted to turn this into a career, I guess what I'm saying is it was a great run, met amazing people, learned a few life skills, I guess got cultured, and that's about it. Most would agree with me, I think, that the restaurant industry can be very political. Your managers need to like you, your co-workers need to like you, and that false hope of teamwork is pretty much garbage. Never have I, in any other setting, seen so much negative talk about people in my life. Servers always make fun of a guest because they don't know something on a menu. If they tip poorly on a high-priced tab, every person I worked with called the person who just paid a couple hundred tab broke, all while we just served them. We wouldn't have jobs if we didn't have guests in, no matter what they tip us. Our owners basically say we're not worth even minimum wage, as they can get away with paying well under minimum wage since we get tipped. Very, very few places offer benefits and offers time off that's paid. I would say most workplaces are highly unprofessional, as we servers don't do much other than complain when it's slow and get way too stressed out for what it's worth when it's busy. Now, so this isn't a completely negative post about the restaurant industry. There's redeemable qualities that you will learn. You get to learn about different cultures' food. You understand how to empathize with others, and get to be on your feet all day and move around as opposed to staring at a computer in a cubicle. But there's definitely things restaurants need to learn. At higher-end places, chefs need to learn that drilling with an iron fist is old school and played out. Plus, no one cares about your name. Get it off the menu and get back in touch with reality. You make food. You are not an NBA star or an actor. Start treating your staff with respect and understand you spent upwards of 5 years spending it creating something so fleeting that people pay way more than they should to have access to good food. Managers, grow up. It's very easy to a majority of restaurant managers to go on power trips and pick favorites. Servers and bartenders understand what we do is not important in the grand scheme of things, no matter how much a place tries to masquerade it. We bring stuff out on plates and bowls, and we put stuff that kills you slowly into a glass. I'm very grateful for my time as a server and bartender, but obviously me writing this is a clear sign of needing to get out. 5. I used to wait tables in a small, old-style coffee shop in a ghetto part of my city. Not fancy, but quite the little gold mine, as there wasn't much competition. Lots of regular customers, great tips, but just like anywhere else, we did get a few assholes. Tim and Nev were a middle-aged couple who always came in just before closing for a multi-course dinner. Working plus making a killing gaming the system, Nev was partially blind, but they had lots of family support and were proud of their ability to find, apply for, and scam various social programs. Free education, laptops, housing, healthcare, phones, transport. They were living well. Everyone hated serving them, and not just because it meant the closer, often me, got stuck staying an hour plus late. No, Tim and Nev were the sort who were exceedingly high maintenance. Wanted extra everything for free. Made a huge effing mess, expected lots of personalized attention, despite the fact that they never, ever tipped. Oh, they knew what they were doing, they just didn't give a fuck. Worse yet, they stank. Nev's family moved away, so I guess there was nobody to tell them to wash their clothes or their asses. The pungent odor of unwashed clothes, hair, and body mixed with urine was sickening, and we'd sit them in a closed area just to protect other guests from the stench, which remained long after they left. It was torture serving those disgusting, morally bankrupt people. One stormy night, after they'd given me a particularly hard time and stayed particularly late, I finally got a chance at payback. We'd locked up behind them, cleaned, sanitized, and Febrezed before heading out the back to our cars. I was last to leave. I noticed Tim and Nev standing in front of the restaurant, shivering in the rain, guessing that there had been a problem with their free ride service. I pulled up next to them and rolled down my window. "Hey guys, what's up?"
"Oh, that company completely screwed up our ride request. They won't be here for an hour."
"You poor things, that's just awful. And in this storm, too. Say, do you live nearby?"
"Oh, yes, not far at all. Just, it's on your way."
"Well, I didn't make much in tips tonight and don't have much gas, so I can't afford to give you a ride. Have a nice night." And I rolled up my window and drove my happy ass home. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Spinning Plates, episode 118. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. I have to say, that final story there, it gave me flashbacks. To when I didn't work in a restaurant, of course, but I used to work retail, and every now and again you'd get those customers in. And you might think, well, Hellfreezer, how can you be so judgy? Those people might have a glandular issue. There might be some plausible reason as to why they stank to high heavens and looked constantly filthy. And yes, it was because they didn't wash. There was one particular guy. Now, this guy wasn't rude, although you did have a few rude ones. This guy wasn't rude, generally polite, always had money, but he almost always stank. Clothes were always dirty, unshaven, just generally ew. And the reason I know it wasn't glandular is because every now and again, I don't know what brought it about, but he'd come in, clothes would be clean, he would be shaven, hair would be cut, and he didn't stink. And I had absolutely no problem serving him then. But it would only be a matter of time before, get in the habit. Even if you can't do it every day, maybe a couple times a week, just for the sake of society. And yes, I'm aware there may occasionally be some issues where people do have, the people that are a bit stinky and it's something they can't quite control, but most of the time it is. Okay, and with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourself.